Today on the podcast, you will hear my interview with Jan Maksin, cellist, composer, arranger, and vocalist. The first time I clicked on one of his promotional videos for his new album, Lullabies for the World, I was fascinated, completely enraptured. He sings in 42 different languages, I believe is what his press release says, and plays the cello simultaneously. And those are two things that I did not think were possible. How does a musician who is a normal classical musician playing a normal classical instrument develop this kind of rapport with world music, with other cultures? How does a normal classical musician dare to create a career that is so different from what I do, from showing up and playing the Nutcracker again and playing the Messiah again? I loved this conversation with such an innovative artist, and I know you will too. Jan Maksin, welcome to Crushing Classical.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here.
I am so excited to speak with you about your new album, Lullaby for the World, and about your creative career and what you are building for yourself. Can we start out by just having you introduce yourself to the listeners and tell a little bit of the story that brings us to where we are right now?
Well, as we already established, my name is Jan Maksin. I've been playing cello since I was 6 years old, and I've been singing since I was about 3, or as long as I remember myself. And since there was a lot of different types of music heard around the house in my family, I was exposed to music in different languages. It's sort of been a hobby for most of my life, as I've been playing cello for a living silently, just a cello. But as the time went by, I started experimenting with singing, namely singing in different languages. And even though in the past about 10 years, I've been releasing strictly music, instrumental, original music for the cello. This is now my first album that's going to have vocals on it. It's been long overdue, and yeah, it's going to have 12 languages on it out of 42 languages that are currently in my collection of over 300 songs. So this is sort of a new beginning for me in a way.
Okay, I have so many questions.
Okay.
You're releasing songs which are both original songs that you have written for the cello and for voice, and these songs are in 12 different languages of the 42 that you have like at your disposal to sing in. Do you speak all of these languages, or do you merely pronounce them as a singer does?
I do not speak them per se. I do speak a few languages, not 42 though, but whenever I learn a song in an unfamiliar language, I take it very seriously. I do not only do I memorize all the words, but I memorize all the meanings of it. So in fact, it's almost like learning the language, that part of the language that you're singing. And you memorize, obviously, with the meaning, you memorize the feeling, or you create the feeling. So in that specific time, when you're singing a song in a language that you don't speak, but you speak those words at that time, you in fact become a carrier of that language just for that time while you're singing that song. So while I sing those songs, I feel very familiar and very connected to the culture. In fact, for me, there's no better way to get connected with a specific culture and sing a song in that language.
That's really beautiful. And it reminds me a little of the way, like if you watch a movie with a movie that is in a foreign language that you do not speak and you're watching it with captions, you're watching the actors, you're watching the emotions pass by,
Right,
you're understanding it because you see the captions, and like you sort of leave the theater thinking that maybe you do speak French, that maybe you do actually understand Mandarin Chinese,
right.
maybe, because it feels so connected and so real and so human.
Yeah, that's a great connection, great comparison.
Okay, fascinating. Um, why lullabies?
Well, let's put it this way. Lullaby is the first song that probably most of us hear after we are born. And lullaby is a symbol of comfort and peace in form of music. And for me, my artistic mission has been for a while is finding peace, creating peace, and transmitting peace in form of music to other people, and helping them find peace inside their souls. So I do feel that lullaby as a musical genre or as a concept is really probably the closest um, in possible in that way. And lullabies being many of them being folk music from many generations back. Some of the songs that I perform are many hundred years old.
Mm.
So it's all a generational memory, all the archetypal memories, and what I'd like to call musical DNA that connects us back to our past. All of that together, I think, is a very powerful tool to regain, to find that peace inside our own personal universe, and also to spread it out to the world around us. So in a way, it's a lullaby to the world. It's in our turbulent times. We do need that sort of lullaby to help our world heal and find peace.
Beautiful, beautiful. In the same way that a lullaby soothes a baby, like
Absolutely.
perhaps
Right.
ideally.
Absolutely. It can soothe the baby, but it can also be a lullaby for a grown up. A grown up needs just as much soothing, if not more, in many ways to, for their emotional survival, so to speak.
That's really
And this is
beautiful.
like, for me, I like it to call it a tool for emotional survival. It has been for me personally, and I know I've helped other people through it as well, through music and through lullabies in particular.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you. Um, I know that it's possible to play a stringed instrument and simultaneously sing or talk, but as an oboist myself, as a wind instrumentalist, it feels impossible to imagine being able to like really be truly expressive in two ways at once. Like, can you? I know that's maybe that's silly, but will you talk a little bit about like the development of this of what you are doing now?
Absolutely, yes. With the oboe, it would be definitely a lot more difficult to sing and play at the same time. But with the cello, when you think of the cello, you think of it as an instrument that plays a melody. You don't really think of it as an accompaniment instrument. Yes, okay, you can play pizzicato on it. You can play. It can play accompaniment role in a larger group, in an ensemble, or in a symphony orchestra, being playing a bass line, or playing pizzicato line, or some other form of playing part of harmony in a four part or multi part harmony, but just one voice out of many. But as a guitar player, my first instrument was actually guitar, even before the cello, and I've been playing guitar my whole life, accompanying myself singing for the most part, as the easiest instrument to accompany yourself. Also piano, and I always, for many years, I always wanted to turn the cello into that sort of an accompanying instrument, which you don't really think of it that way. in classical music or even outside classical music. It has not really been done very much. But so I started based on guitar. I started thinking of different ways. What can you do? How can you play the cello in order to sort of replicate that sort of accompaniment? What do we need in accompaniment? We definitely need to have three elements: bass, rhythm, and harmony are the three things in order to have full listening experience. Obviously, if you go to a concert as a listener, you may, like, let's say you go to an a cappella concert where a singer just sings, how long would you be able to get through? Maybe 15 minutes or 20 without getting bored. You need those elements. You need bass, rhythm, and harmony in order to have a full listening experience. So I started thinking, what can I do to create that full listening experience with the cello? So I started experimenting and trying to come up with ways. Obviously, guitar and piano have two things to their advantage. They have sustainability of the sound, which when you strum like 5 strings or 6 strings at the same time, the sound remains until you kill it. Same with the piano. You can, as long as your fingers are pressed into the keys, or as long as you have the pedal on, you have that continuity of the sound. On the cello, unless you keep bowing that one note, you don't have that same continuity. And that was sort of the hardest part. But, I figured out some ways, some sort of life hacks, some shortcuts on how to do it. And I've been able to come up with a way to accompany myself with the cello, even without using any electronics. But then I thought, okay, it's still not enough. There's got to be a better way of doing it. So I started looking for different modalities, different electronics to incorporate into my style of one-man band. And I have, like even right now in front of me, I have 3 pedals. My three main pedals are the bass pedal, which helps me add another octave on the bottom. I really feel like in my cello orchestra, it's very important to have the double bass on the bottom. You cannot really have a full deep sound without having the bass. Then the loop pedal, which helps me clone myself in real time, like I'd like to say. Pretty much I play something, I record, and I play over it again. Sometimes I do cheat. Sometimes I do pre-record some things. Like, for example, if in a concert it would just take too long to record a certain part, I do have some like pre-recorded samples, so to speak, or some pre-recorded parts that I just incorporate and put on. But obviously they've been recorded by myself, recorded on the cello. And I have a pedal with effects as well, with delay, with chorus, and some other things to sort of augment the sound of the cello. And with all those things, yeah, I've been able to come up with a way to sort of accompany myself in real time, just only using myself, my cello, and singing. You asked about singing at the same time with playing. It does take some practice. Like obviously with guitar, it's similar. You play the chords and you sing. With the cello, it's a little more challenging, I guess, in some ways. But after a certain practice, it becomes sort of a second nature. For you as a classically trained musician, for other classically trained listeners, I think you'd appreciate this part. One of my challenges and things that I do enjoy very much when I prepare these arrangements, I love using the cello as second or even third voices in 3 or and at least I can do at least a 3-part harmony on the cello by singing one of the voices and playing double stop 2 other notes. It takes some mental work, takes some figuring it out, but I've been able to do it. And I have at least a dozen, maybe even more, couple of dozen songs in my repertoire from different traditions, from the Balkan music, polyphonic Balkan music, from polyphonic vocal music from Georgia. It's a beautiful tradition that completely stands on its own. I have a Georgian flag here,
Huh,
right here.
yeah.
It was a gift. Beautiful country, very unique music, polyphonic music. So some of those songs I've been able to do with the cello, and some of them I do even like a cappella without accompaniment. So basically just playing vocals and two songs. So like it's like literally three people singing, except two parts are being played on a cello.
It's it's so interesting, actually, because I know these things are possible, and I see like rock and roll guitarists on stage playing their thing and simultaneously singing, and I see them using the pedals to change the sounds, and it feels impossibly complex as you are simultaneously like emoting on an instrument like the cello, right? Like there's vibrato and there's the way that a line connects. Like I watch cellists, so I understand that this is the skill that you have worked on in practice, but I just think it's really impressive. It makes
Thank
me,
you.
yeah, it makes me wonder, um, as you are creating these arrangements and as you are creating these original compositions, are you like working sort of within an improvisation capacity, or is this like very planned in advance? What does that structure look like?
As far as composing is concerned, it's definitely very improvisational. So I usually start with, most of the times, like 80% of the time, I start with harmonies. I create a harmonic progression and I write a melody on top of it. But there have been instances where it's been the other way around, and I would come up with a melody and harmonize it as I went along. So yes, in that process, yes. When I work on arrangements for traditional music from different parts of the world, in many aspects as well, because every majority of the cultures, especially the cultures that I'm fascinated with, like music of Turkey and the Middle East, music of Central Asia, they music of West Africa, Northwest Africa, especially, those traditions incorporate improvised music. And you'll be surprised how much similarity there is among all of them, uh, between, say, West African music and Central Asian music, even though they're really far away. But, they use oftentimes similar um, modes. And so if you put those people in the same room, 5 minutes later, you give them a tune to improvise on, they're going to be able to play together. And I think that's really one of the most fascinating things that we have through music. We don't have to speak the same language. We can sit down and just start playing together. Obviously, it's even more advanced with, say, classical musicians. You put music in front of them and they start playing together, and develop that kind of communication instantly. With jazz musicians, even more so, you don't even need to put any music in front of them. They will start playing on a using very sophisticated language to communicate among one another without having to communicate verbally. So that's really fascinating.
Absolutely. Like it is that for performing musicians, even though the details and the cultural factors may vary, like there is a universality to being able
Absolutely.
to perform and to being able to play together and interact. Yeah.
Absolutely. So that brings me to the point that I was about to make, by trying to combine all those different um, traditional music from different parts of the world and creating this fusion that has cello as sort of as a common denominator, as a common factor for all of that. It does create something universally that has this sort of universal appeal to different cultures, for me to be able to speak to all these cultures simultaneously at the same time. And I feel like I've been able to achieve that, at least to a certain degree, by playing my original music in different parts of the world, and people in absolutely different parts of the world, in the Middle East, in Europe, and South America, connecting with this music, finding a deep connection um, with this type of music. So that sort of is a testimonial to the fact that it's working, that I'm sort of on the right track with what I'm doing.
Yes, that you and your cello can sort of pick up and drop into any place and find that universality with
Right.
musicians.
Right. Oh, with the audience, actually,
Yeah, sure.
with the audience,
Sure.
playing for audiences in different
Yeah.
parts of the world.
I mean, I love it. I love it. Thank you for that. Um, Here's a question. It is like it's so enchanting for me to speak to someone like you who is like already in a place of mastery with what you do, and who's already like giving concerts across the world and releasing your like 12th album or something. Maybe I've gotten that wrong. Um
I don't remember how many. Something.
but and you talked a little bit about how like growing up you have been singing since you were 3, singing in different languages made sense in your family of origin. But I think for a lot of listeners, they are like still in a place where, okay, here I am playing in this orchestra, here I am playing my professional instrument, and like I wish I had a career like that. I wish I could create more of the music that I'm sort of hearing in my heart. But here I am like showing up for another holiday pops concert. And like I guess I wonder does that what does the beginnings of that journey look
Well,
like
that's
for you as a
exactly what I did. I played pops concerts and all of that stuff until quite recently. Actually, I think I was, in my mid 30s that I came to a realization that, I've done that for a time long enough, and I want to do something different. And, it took a lot of courage, it took a lot of, yeah, I would say courage to just not be afraid and start from scratch. But that's pretty much what I did. I just pretty much quit classical music cold turkey, almost cold turkey. It was a transition. Maybe that took a couple of years, but there was a lot of unknown. Sort of it absolutely was like 100% unknown. But that's sort of when you immerse yourself in that unknown, when you surrender to the unknown, that's when you have those unlimited number of possibilities come into your life. Whereas when you are on the orbit of predictability, when okay, you making a living doing, playing pops concerts, but it's not what makes you super happy, but that's reliably, you're going to be able to do it a year from now, 5 years from
yeah,
now,
yeah,
10 years from now. It does, keep you on a certain orbit of predictability that it's very hard to get off of. And for me, it was hard. It still is for me to get off of orbit of predictability, because I still, kind of do the same things. I'm grandfather to doing certain things every day, every morning, making my coffee, doing my meditation, doing certain things, practicing cello, doing my work, doing publicity, going to the gym, like all of those things. They are routine that you're going to be doing it tomorrow. You're going to be doing it a week from now, a month from now, and that's what sort of keeps you. You think that keeps you sane and keeps your level of peace and comfort to a certain degree, keeps you in your comfort zones. But in order to get to the next level, whatever you want to be, the next level of anything, you have to break out of that comfort zone, whatever it is. Until you break out of that comfort zone, no change will ever come. So that's
yeah.
kind of to summarize that. So to make a long story short, yes, I started from scratch. It was scary. I had a little kid. I had a 5-year-old kid at the same time that I had to feed and take care of. And it was there was a lot of unknown, and it was pretty scary. But I had faith. Most importantly, I had faith and hope that at the end of the day, you know, the universe was going to be on my side, and I was going to make it through it.
Yeah. You said a couple of really important things in there. One about having to break the routine and break the comfort zone in order to like reach for the next thing. And the other thing that you said was once you stopped doing the predictable thing of like showing up for next week's concert and the week after's concert and the week after's, that opens up unlimited possibilities.
Right.
And like even I, who like love a possibility, I love an opportunity. I hear, oh, there's unlimited possibilities once you just stop doing what you were doing.
Absolutely.
It's true and it's terrifying.
Absolutely. And sometimes those things come into our lives with some failures, or with some negative events, let's put it this way, that are brought into our lives, where we end up in a situation like, let's say we have to start everything from zero, start our career from zero, start our financial you know, survival from zero again, start something health related as well. A lot of times that brings us back to zero. But that also is the point from which we start, you know, the reckoning to that world of the new possibilities. So in many times, you know, even with some, you know, negative events, not some, like every single, I strongly believe that every single type of event that is brought into our life, it's brought in for purpose, and it depends on how we look at it, from what angle, and we can use it as a jump board to take us to that next level, if we choose so.
Yeah, this is beautiful. Thank you so much. Is there anything else that this has been a fascinating conversation already? Is there anything that you would like to share at this point that I haven't made space for? Or particularly, would you like to speak about the new album, which is releasing today?
Well, there's really not a lot more. I would like for the music to speak for itself. And I just want to say that this music is for everyone. These are lullabies for mainly for grown-ups. I would say even more so than for children, because we forget that we do need that type of comfort. We grow up, and we, you know, we sort of shut down our inner child, and I do believe that a lot of problems that we are faced with as grown-ups have to do with the fact that we shut down that inner child and are not in touch with it. And hopefully this album will help us all get reconnected with our inner child, and give them, him, her, them, certain type of comfort that they need, and find that peace, and spread that peace in the world around us.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Where do you want people following you? Where do you want people to go and look for you?
The easiest way to start is my official website. The most important thing is to spell it right. It's IANMAKSIN.com. And there's literally a button for everything. There's a button for concert tour. Click and you find your city. I'm touring North America, everywhere from Los Angeles to Miami, from Boston to the Olympic Peninsula, and Canada, from Vancouver, BC, all the way to Quebec. So you find your city on my concert schedule. There's another button. Listen on Spotify, listen Apple Music, watch all of my beautiful official music videos that I've just finished shooting. I'm releasing at least 4 videos this fall. 2 of them already came out, 2 more are coming out. shot with a very gifted Canadian Ukrainian videographer Olga Barkovska in British Columbia to sort of enhance that experience, lullaby experience. Check all of that stuff out. And there's a lot of other resources. I also have a page that sort of stuff that you cannot put on the album cover, or things that I cannot get through explaining in a live concert what this is about, but some additional resources about this lullaby, about every song in particular, where it came from, what the specific meaning is behind it, translations, origins, and things like that. You can find that by a quick, just one click away on my website. And obviously also Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, you can find a button for that as well to follow me on those things. I post a lot of things. I post a lot of pictures and videos. I post a lot of pictures and videos outside music. I'm very passionate about flying airplanes and climbing mountains. So I try to create a lot of beautiful content that I get to see myself, and I do have an urge to share it with people just because it's so beautiful. So I create a lot of reels from all of the destinations that I go to for climbing mountains, and all of the beautiful places I've flown over as a pilot. So I like to share those things as well outside the musical content.
Amazing. It's so generous. I hope that tons of people come and check out your beautiful photos, videos, images, reels, and new videos and the new album. Jan Maksin, thank you so much for talking with me today.
Thank you so much.